morning and greetings from Northumberland. It's another very grey morning. We can see the sea today, which is an improvement on yesterday, but it's simply a grey line on the horizon. Storm Alex, is it called this time, is taking its toll, and I think we've had enough rain to water the land for a little bit. Let's hope that it passes on very soon. Today is one of those Sundays that we can choose so many readings for. There are the readings for the normal course of the Sundays after Trinity. There are the readings for the Harvest Festival. There are readings for a dedication festival. You can sort of take your choice. But also lurking beneath all that, because of the date today, the 4th of October, are the readings for St. Francis of Assisi, who as a minor saint would normally be missed on a Sunday, but I think his life and his mission speaks something to this time when so many of us are celebrating harvest, and certainly when later in the week I celebrate harvest with others, I shall be using these readings. St. Francis was born either in the year 1181 or in the year 1182, we're not quite sure. Obviously, it's a long time ago. And he died on the evening of the 3rd of October, as we move from the 3rd to the 4th of October, in the year 1226. And we all know the picture of St. Francis, a slightly ragged figure in a brownish habit, who seems so Christ-like. And the interesting thing is, of course, as most people know, he was born into a rich family. He wanted to be a knight in shining armour in those days when we had those things. And he was a pretty spectacular failure in that vocation. He was captured in one of the minor wars between the cities of northern Italy, where he was. He was in prison for a time. He was restored to his home because he was very, very sick. And that illness began to change him. After that, he began to share not his own goods, but his father's goods with the poor, and the father called him to account before the bishop. And St. Francis, in this major act of renunciation, says, I've wronged my father. He takes off everything that the father has given him, which means he takes off everything, and stands naked in the square in Assisi, and has to be taken under the shadow of the bishop of the church. And then he begins this life as a friar, as someone who called other people to him, but whose chief purpose was to proclaim God's love and to live in simplicity. He heard the call from the crucifix that I have on my wall here, build my church, and he started off by rebuilding a ruined church. But he built the church in that part of the Middle Ages because he called the church back to itself and back to Christ. It was that gospel simplicity that helped the church of his time, in part, to regain its soul and vocation. And Francis and his brothers spread this message, and later with the Sisters of St. Clare, spread this message throughout Europe and served as a transforming force within the church. He is associated with nature. His Canticle of the Creatures, Brother Sun, Sister Moon, Gentle Death, are all part of that great hymn that we sing, all creatures of our God and King. And as we remember Francis today, we pledge ourselves anew to the right use of creation, to a simplicity that embraces the need to care for the poor. And above all, like Francis, we ask God to bless us day by day as we seek to follow Christ. May God bless us today.